Yes, here we go. Sometimes the young ones, they just can't help themselves. They just get so enamored with fanciness. They run up and then they say, like, Mr. Derek, how might I be fancy? How might I achieve the fancyhood that you have achieved? Well, young one, it takes a lifetime of hard work and dedication to try to capture even a fraction of the fanciness that I have. Oh, look at this little one. Look at that little one. Oh, and you gotta notice, we got the one little cage, and then we got the other little cage, and then we got JD over here, and he's watching football as he's also watching the babies. Pretty good setup, huh? Pretty good setup. Okay, I'm gonna leave him so JD can watch football and the babies. Thank you very much, JD. Okay, so let me just pause this. Here we are. We find ourselves back into the compound. I see a young Miss Noelle. Such a fancy creature she is. Surely. Hi, baby. Hi. How are you? How are you? Hi, pretty girl. Did you eat already? We just fed. We fed not too long ago. Is there a kitty around here somewhere? I don't see any little house kitties. I'm gonna get into a shouting match with another one. Get me another 3 million view video. That would be great if you could just do that. If you could just get to work on that, that'd be swell. Oh, pretty girl. Pretty girl. Well, ta-ta. And with that, hello, all you fancy people. Yes, the accoutrement. It just keeps on coming together. That was not fancy at all. Welcome to the third installment of the Fancycast. Oh, for you discerning webcast viewers. You know quality when you see it. You do. The choosiest of Pride members only go for the fanciest of casts. But yes, I found... This is all costume jewelry. This is all costume jewelry. Everything. This is like, I don't know what this thing is made out of, whatnot. This is, I don't know, this is some guy. I think that this is like a man, a very generous man, a Bangladeshi man, like donated his mustache. You know, but no, it's... Oh, because that's the thing. People say just like, you should totally... That's what I'm taking all the Patreon money for, is to buy fancy costume jewelry. That's what it is. That's what it's going towards. And I will say, you know, so far, been able to keep the monocle in relatively well. Maybe I'm just getting that much more fancy, more comfortable. Yes, indeed. Oh, I have to do it. It's great. Melissa got me like this multi-pack of like 12 different mustaches. You know, so I have to use a different one. You can't reuse these ones because it doesn't work like that. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. How are you, baby? Been reading some of your comments. You know, thank you very much for, of course, commenting and engaging with the fancy Patreon account, with the Big Cat Derek Patreon account, all that fun stuff. Some people, I got one comment, like from Hensley Hensley the Lesser, I think it was. Hi, my monocle fell out. And said, like, you know, I know that, you focus on, like, the stuff that's in your head and the topics that you're kind of thinking about. It's more, like, you personal, like, in the Walk Around the Compound webcast. And maybe you could focus on some more kind of internal stuff, technical information, care vision type stuff. You know, some things that they use this term, and I chuckled at this. Something that's going to go above the heads of the Walk Around the Compound webcast peasants. And I'm like, oh, Hensley. It starts off as jokes and then it turns into something real. We got to be careful about that. You know, the actual fancy people it starts becoming like a cliquey thing, like, and then people are just like, I used to be a member of the Fancycast, but not anymore. That community got really toxic. Everyone just thought that they were so much better. They only pay $1 a month. That gives them some form of moral superiority? I think not. I don't want to be a part of that anymore. Oh, but that's how it happens. That's how you gotta be. We have to be careful. I mean, of course we. Why should we be careful? Because oh no, we must keep the fanciness alive. It is our God-given right to be this way. And if they don't like it, well, poo-poo on them. It's like no one's even protested fanciness, Derek. Yet. But if you keep it up, if you keep up this elitist this fancy elitist rhetoric, then there will be opposition. But Hensley, thank you very much for your feedback. It was duly noted. But one thing I will say about that, and they say, like, well, you know, it's because the Walk Around the Combo webcast is so, you know, specific. It's very to you, like, in what's going on in your head. And you're right. And it's one of the main reasons is because I've done over 300. I think that there's cows. I think that there's cows over there. There's got to be cows. You looking at cows? Huh? Some fast food? Some roving beef? I prefer my beef to be in the form of Wellington. But it's because I've done 300 webcasts, and it's hard as far as the YouTube stuff is concerned. And it's after a while, it's like you're grasping at whatever you can. Before it used to just be so easy, just kind of go like, oh, well, I haven't talked about this thing about care. Let me talk about that. Well, I haven't talked about that thing about care. Let me talk about that. And then after a while, it's like, well, I've talked a lot about a lot of the care stuff. What else is there? This is my opinion on this thing that currently everyone's talking about. So it's like that's kind of how that happens. It's kind of an organic progression of that type of stuff. But I did hear you, Hensley, and I can try to be more cognizant of that. But another problem that goes with that as well is that we as an organization, we're already very just kind of transparent. We already kind of just tell, you know, this is kind of our thoughts and this is kind of what we're doing. And like, I mean, as you can see, like, Mia clearly has her heart on her sleeve. She has no qualms giving me an opinion, a very strongly worded opinion about how she feels. So that is something to take into consideration. It's difficult. You know, it's like if you're thinking like, oh, maybe there's some inside scoop that maybe we can get in the fancy casts that we don't get in the regular webcasts. And I'd have to kind of say, like, not really. Probably not so much of that. Like I said, just because we already kind of talk about stuff. But then here's the thing. The challenge, the operative challenge would then be like, okay, well, let's see if we can kind of delve further into that and figure out what are like some of the more technical elements of the facilities and all of that stuff. And then also other people like might say just like, well, it's, you know, spend some time specific to this cat and talk about that cat and their personality. And it's like, well, that's another thing. I've already spent so much time and so many hours just going into like, and just walking around the compound and talking about the cats, and it's hard to say like, all right, well, here's Milo. He can have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He can sometimes be a little bit needy, but also a little bit kind of quiet and standoffish. He's very emotional, but he can also be very kind of brooding. He's tremendously, extraordinarily athletic when he wants to be. So, I mean, but it's like all of that stuff, it's that stuff that I think a lot of you already know. You've already seen it because you've already watched like all the other content, you know. So it's, you have to realize some of the inherent challenges. Not to say that I'm not up to it, but there is some challenges that are associated with like opening up the field, and besides, this cast is like technical details are not fancy. We're here to be fan. No. Let us leave the technical details to the more blue collars, you know. Hi, baby. Hi, sis. Hi, sugar pie. Hi, baby. How are you? And one more squeak, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, hi. Hey. Hi, mister. How are you? You're very handsome. You're very handsome. You're a very handsome boy. Ah, that was a nice little visit from Ace. That was a nice little visit. My monocle keeps on falling out. What you doing, bud? Oh, it feels so nice outside right now. It feels so nice. Oh, but I guess, I mean, you know, vision is an interesting thing because it's you have to, a lot of times you have to apply just like a sense of pragmatism. Like what's going on in the world and what sort of opportunities do you have available to you in the immediate? I mean, in so many ways you are like with this world, because you know we're a nonprofit big cat rescue facility, and there is an element of competition that you have with other similar facilities, and a lot of times it can just be very regional. Like sometimes like people they were messaging because there was like, well, there was a news thing that kind of popped up a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago. Little tiger cub was found over in California. Well, tiger cub was found over in California. It was a law enforcement kind of thing where someone was doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing, and then in the process of, you know, apprehending these people and going through their items, they're like, oh my gosh, there's the tiger cub. And it's one of those kind of things where it's like, you know what, hey, from the standpoint of an organization like ours, if you don't think that being able to get, I gotta be very careful, I know. Oh, there's a horse head right there. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get even the Fancycast. I don't want to. One of the things you got to realize, like, I don't like to spend too much time focusing, like, with an HD camera on something that is so recognizable. Not because I think that you folks can't handle it, but I don't want to just sit there and just be like, oh, I don't want someone to eventually be able to say like, that's mine. That's my animal, and now I'm sad. Like, you know, I want to be respectful to the people who, you know, bring that stuff in. Well, one thing I guess you got to say, like, oh yeah, if there's ever like a tiger that comes up in the news and it's like, oh, the police have found this thing, and it's like it kind of captures the attention, even if it's especially if it's like a national story. Oh yeah, we're just like, oh, we've done a lot of different times where we'll contact the authorities like, hey, about that tiger cub, like, we're a place that takes those kind of things, just so you know. Wink, wink. I mean, it's all you can do. I mean, when the authorities take stuff like that, it's not like you can't sit there and what am I going to do? Take like people's donation, kind of grease them, like, hey, you know, officer, if that tiger were to happen to make its way up here, I'd make it worth your while. Like, no, you just say like, hey, we're a facility that we take care of animals like this, and if you want to be able to send an animal our way, then sure, that would be great. And like from a organizational perspective, yeah, you look at that stuff and that's helpful, because especially from like a national stage, you you can say like, okay, well, one, well, it's like we're fulfilling our mission of being able to provide like a home to exotic animals in need, and then two, you get like the double kind of ability to say like, hey, remember that thing that everyone was talking about in the news a little bit before? Like, that's us. Like, we were the one that took them in. You get like that little that media bump, which then it translates to, you know, potential donors, and then people being able to support your facility, and then you being able to perform the mission better in the long run. That's all. You have to take all of that stuff into consideration. I mean, yes, there's the wonderful, like, chomp chomp, like this stuff right here is fantastic. Just being able to be around the kitties and just being able to just know that they're feeling good and that they're having a good time, and that by them being happy and comfortable in these moments, that means that we as a group are doing our job. Like, that's a fantastic thing. But there's also like to be able to operate and to do what we want to do at a high level, then yeah, you have to think about all those things. You have to like think about increasing your marketing footprint, and then your administrative footprint. You have to, you know, like, okay, well, what about these and accounting stuff like that, and how do we fundraise, and like, what is in the best interest? Like, you do have to kind of put on that business / kind of corporate hat and look at things like, you know, is this in the best interest of this facility? Is, you know, you have to think about that stuff. And then it gets a little bit away from, it doesn't get away, but it's like you have to spend time and energy thinking about stuff that is not like directly related to just simply being out here and, you know, doing like the traditional stuff like shoveling poop and throwing meat over fences, you know? Like, when I first got here, that's all I was interested in. Oh my gosh, shoveling poop and throwing meat over fences, that's my jam. That's my jam. But then after a while, after years, okay, it's like you're an RPG character. And it's like, okay, you have mastered poop scooping. Like, let's move on to the next level. Let's do the next thing. And after a while, it's like, okay, well, you master a number of the outside tasks. We're not going to get over there because he's got his meat and he is yelling, and that is not a cool thing. Don't want to disturb, which I think is Nadal. I think that's Nadal. Yep, that's Diwali right here. Motorcycle. I think that's Daryl. I think it's Daryl from The Walking Dead. I think that's Daryl. Guys, I think that was Daryl. No, really, it was. I saw the angel wings on his leather jacket. Ah. Did anyone catch that season premiere, The Walking Dead season premiere? I will say, like, you know, I was about ready to just completely, and I'm still very tentatively just kind of like entering into it. It seems like every season it's just, the show is just, I keep on wanting to just say like, all right, you know, Walking Dead, it was a good run. We had a good run. We had a good time together. You know, you provided a lot of entertainment, but I think that we need to part ways. We're just not that, you know, I don't think we're that into each other anymore. We just have to just kind of call it like it is. And then you watch that one, and I'm not going to sit there and say like, oh, I'm so blown away by the season premiere, but I will say it was enough where I'm just like, damn it. Damn it, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna watch next. You just do it like on a week-by-week basis. I swear, if they have another episode this season where it's like that one girl, and then she met those ladies and they had all the guns, and like literally it's just like nothing happened that entire episode. Oh my gosh. But then again, you know, I was sitting there saying just like, I should just kind of pull the plug right now. Stop watching. And then the producers are just like, you'll be back. They always come back. I do think that the Walking Dead versus Game of Thrones question has been answered. And then some. GOT. Clearly better. Yes, really, I believe that only fancy people, you know, like quite rather enjoy the Game of Thrones. It's about, I mean, it's about nobility, so of course fancy people would be, drawn to it. Indeed. And Melita is back to her non-fancy ways. Seems like during the Fancycast, we just get Melita in a sour mood. In a non-fancy mood. And then we got Tess also giving us the business. So we're not going to get any closer. We don't want them to charge. Because I don't have my credit cards on me. So yeah. And then also, it's like, yeah, you still have to be very careful. You know, as far, even with the Fancycasts, as far as, especially when, you know, you're talking about, you know, just the, because there's politics involved in this world, and other people, they hear things and they see things, and it's like you can very honestly and truthfully express your position and your opinions on things, but at the same time, you got to be very careful that you're not just completely just possibly, you know, by expressing a certain thing, putting anyone else on blast. And that's certainly not something that we as an organization want to do. So, you know, people might just be like, well, Derek, you know, now that we're kind of like in our little secret club, tell us what you really think. And it's like, that still could be, you know, I don't want to, you got to be careful about possibly damaging any sort of relationships. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And I'm not even talking about intentionally. It's like, it's easy to do things inadvertently. And there's certain things that I've said on webcasts in the past where other people are like, well, that wasn't exactly, you know, nice of you. And it's like, ah, crap. It's like you get information wrong. So, yeah, you just got to be careful. But, I mean, that's tremendously rare. I think I've been able to, you know, play the part of the diplomat rather well, wouldn't you say so? I mean, look at me. I look like I should be in a gala setting, in a dinner party setting, with heads of state and ambassadors and military leaders and whatnot. That is the company I choose to keep. Fancy people, nonetheless. My fancy accent, I think, kind of floats around a little bit too. I gotta be careful about that. Oh, look at that. Oh, excuse me. Sit. Show us your teeth again. There we go. Capture. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, you already ate all your proteins. You already ate all of your proteins, and you're ready for bed now. I don't blame ya. I don't blame ya. And then you don't want to sit there and have like you don't want to have a platform where it's like, oh, they're just sitting there just saying all sorts of crazy stuff, because then it could hurt your chances for being able to have good relations, which then can hurt your chances for, you know, taking in, you know, there's all sorts of weird squirrely stuff that can happen in the world, in the orbiting gravitational pull of the big cat world. There's so many different players and pieces and moving components and people with very strong and specific interests and very specific ideological aims, and not everyone is on the same page. Like, not everyone is on the same page. Even though it's like we're all kind of like supposed to be doing like the same rough kind of thing, which is providing good homes for these animals, sometimes you get kind of lost in the sauce, and then minor disagreements can turn into these major rifts. And it just, you know, we just have to be cognizant of it and careful of it. Let other people ruffle feathers and burn bridges. It's not us. Not us so much. No. Look, She's definitely just like, what is going? Because she's, you know, looking at the accoutrement, and I am too freaked out. I am too freaked out. That is way too fancy for this little lemur's tastes. Like, I understand, fanciness is it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. It can really just kind of throw you through a loop. Throw you through a loop. Beautiful, wouldn't you say? I know that some people, they were sitting there saying about this, like, you know what, something I'd like on the Fancycast is if you just put the BB Tiki stuff aside, if you just broke the fourth wall. I can do that. I can do that. Although I'm not going to get terribly too close to Mr. Slade right now. He's got his body, horse body. Hi, mister. Ooh. Hi, bud. Yeah, okay. That was like a cordial, kind of neighborly, hello? Getting you closer, I might have to murder you. Idly hodly. I do have to thank, again, you know, I want to make sure that I'm remembering to thank you folks for supporting me on the old Patreon. It does help out. Helps me make these videos, and you know, all that fun stuff. Ooh. Oh my gosh, super exciting. Oh yeah, you want to get technical? We'll get more technical. I'm probably going to be upgrading. I'm going to probably be upgrading my equipment, my phone within the next month. That's a technical thing. Oh, you asked me. You asked. They wanted to get technical. Bim bim. Hi. Is Slade not sharing? Is Slade not sharing dinner? Or have you already just eaten enough and you're just like, oh, I'm going to take a nap? Probably the latter. Probably the latter. Oh, yes. Well, I don't know for how long I shall be keeping up this shtick. It might be only for a few weeks. It might be for a few months. It might be for a few years. We shall see. We'll just play it by ear. Some of the first comments when I did the first one, it's like, you do a top hat and monocle, and I'm just like, that's the thing. I didn't even need the suggestion. I was already like, the stuff was already ordered. I was like, I'm way ahead of you. You should totally do it. I'm like, I know, right? Oh, yeah. Because I think it was like, even like after the first one, like just doing it, I kind of had felt the vibe. Felt the vibe, you know, of what it could become. Hey, bud, where are you going? All right, bye-bye, Raleigh. He's probably going to make sure that his meat is not being stolen. I always think that, someone's coming around. That must mean they're trying some funny business. They're going to try to steal the meat. Try to steal the meat. Isn't that right, Ra? Yeah. Handsome boy. Handsome boy. All right. Well, this was a fun little episode of the Fancycast, the 3rd edition. Hopefully you folks enjoyed it. Once again, thank you so much for supporting me on the Patreon. That's about it. Go ahead and put some comments down in the comment section below. We're going to have a fun time. I'll just be reading them, maybe answering a couple of them back. Maybe some of your comments will be so good, I'll actually talk about them in the next Fancycast. Would you like that? I'm sorry, I don't know who that person was who just took it's made my monocle pop out of my eye. Like, who was that just took over me? I'm terribly sorry. That was not Fancy at all. We are here to keep this cast as fancy as possible. It's a premium product, and it should be for premium people of premium and discerning taste. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Fancycast. I'll talk to you in the next one. All right. Stay fancy, my friends. I should probably think about like a call out sound, just like, because that sounds too much like the Dos Equis thing. Like, stay thirsty. Like, way to be original, Derek. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we'll think about it. It's organic. We have plenty of time. All right. Bye bye.